Hello everyone, Pierce Nation here. Welcome back to a new deck profile that I have. First, before we start off this deck profile, I'm going to go over everything as a whole, what I'm doing, what I plan on doing in the future. As you know, I build the most competitive decks of today's formats, and I do them through Blue Eyes, Drytron, Cyber Dragon, you name it. I try to make a competitive version for you all to be able to play when you all go to locals, regionals, and YCS. Of course, there are decks I have at all different levels of said format, and for this format, it's a bit tricky, especially with branded Despia out, and that is today's deck profile, and we will get on to that. This is not the most competitive branded Despia deck, but it is floating around tier 2, tier 1. There are some core cards I'm missing in my branded Despia deck, which I'll show off today. And the main core cards that I'm missing are a second copy of Branded Red, the triple copies of Branded Opening, the Pfeiffer and Edge Imp package. I do have the two polymerizations in there, so I do have that. Again, some of the main things that I'm missing is like Guardian Chimera, second copy of Masquerade, and the Despian Quertus, I think is the name of it, or Quertus, or whatever it is. That's the one I'm missing. And besides that, I've got the rest of the deck. I would like to get them and try to get them on like higher rarities in the future. But for now, that's all I have for this. Also, I do want to talk about my uploads, what my uploads will consist of, because mostly the past months I've been doing deck profiles like consistently, showing off the different decks, showing off the combos, going over the cards in detail, because I think it's very important for a lot of people to really get the drift and understand is, how the deck plays, why these cards are in this specific deck for this format, and why they really work the way they do. Of course, as we all know, my last Blue Eyes build that you all seen, it combats branded pretty well, and will actually, for Flandreese, will stop it for the most part. But for Blue Eyes to beat Flandreese in that it has to hit it early, can't be later. Currently, I am still working on Altergeist. I will have Altergeist at a high level, so it can combat branded pretty easily, and it will be able to stop Flandreese. Because as you know, the Secret Village of Spellcasters, there are no spellcasters in Flandreese, so they will not be able to activate their spells, and they will not be able to pop off their amazing combos. And for their traps, we got Altergeist Hextia, so I'm not a bit concerned with their traps. Like I said, the build is what it is for the most part, and it will be able to stop Branded and Flandreese and Eldridge. Eldridge is probably the one deck that really hits Altergeist and keeps it from really popping off because of the way it gets rid of traps and the way the traps just float in the graveyard. That's one of the biggest problems with my Altergeist deck. Now, Altergeist versus like the PK Phantom Knights, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It's not really that hard to beat. And Altergeist versus what was the other one? Invoked. Invoked really doesn't stand a chance. They do have the Spellcaster, however, so they can still activate like their invoked stuff, but for the most part, it doesn't really do anything. So from beyond that aspect of my channel, we will be going over the top cards that come out every day. We will be going over market price, going over all that today. Today or tomorrow, one of the two. We'll get it done, I promise. And next is the metagame. I'll be going to metagame, telling you all the decks that people are playing, so you can make whatever tier 1, tier 2, tier 1, whatever deck you're looking for, and be able to combat it with the way that I tell you. Because if for players that I speak specifically for players getting back in the game and players that are looking to like be like, well, what deck should I build? I'm here to kind of put you in the right direction. Obviously, with splights right around the corner, that would be the deck to build if you're not already started on one. If you go ahead and just prep for splights, build splights as they are, and be like, well, what cards do I need? Look up some deck profiles, look at the OCG, kind of like listen to some of the people on YouTube like me, who obviously know a lot about the game. We know all the interactions, all the different chains, combos. We are your source of information, and as a source of information, we have to tell you things straight up. We can't lie about them. Just like the first Blue Eyes deck that I built on the channel, which has right around, I think, 3.3 thousand views on it. If you go back and watch it, it's the Blue Eyes Shining build. Obviously, if I put that against the Blue Eyes deck I have now, the one I have now will blow it out of the water, no problem. Because really, that deck, it was good for the time. I was playing locals and regionals, and I even made it to a YCS invite with Blue Eyes, but it didn't do very well. I'll be honest, because there's a lot of decks. There was Invoke, there was Eldritch, there was again Drytron, Tri Brigade, and I was playing Blue Eyes against these decks, and I went about like 4 and 8 at YCS with Blue Eyes. So that's not terrible, but it's not great. So with that being said, is Blue Eyes a bad deck for this format? Not necessarily, but it's not the most powerful either. So you keep this in mind. And Dark Magician's on the same scale as Blue Eyes. So whatever Blue Eyes is doing, Dark Magician is not that far off. So with that being said, again, we're gonna get in this deck profile here in a minute. Like, I will be going over the deck profile. If you have made it this far in the video and you're waiting for a deck profile, you can go ahead and just skip the rest if you want. Or you can listen to me and it'll all be fine. It's no biggie. But one of the biggest things to think about, since we're in a format where branded, Fonderies, Eldritch, and the Avenger token package is very popular, is knowing your way around it, because it's very important that you know exactly how to attack this deck before you even see it. And a lot like a lot of other decks, if you go against it, you'll know that not everybody builds the deck exactly the same. I don't, because I don't want to be the exact same as the next person. You built this deck. It's great. It works. It's fantastic. There are many different ways to run a deck. And the one who knows how to run the deck the most is the person behind the cards piloting that deck. So if you look up one online and you're like, yeah, I'm going to build this deck this way, it's going to work. That is not your mind. You do not know how to play that deck, if that makes any sense. Just like people, they use my builds and they're like, well, I do very good at my locals with this deck. Of course you will, but you won't do as good as I will with my deck, because I know all of my plays the minute I lay down a card. I know with Blue Eyes, when I throw down Small World, I know I'm getting Dictator D. I know I am. I'm either getting Dictator D or I'm getting the Barrier Statue. I know this. I know it right off the top of my head. I don't have to think about it. When I play Altergeist, do I sit and think, oh man, what play am I going to go into? Okay, I activate Faker. What play am I going into? I know I'm getting Silk, or I know I'm getting Meluseek. There's no question. I'm quick. I know right off the top of my head that this is the play that I need to take. This is the route I have to go, because with your deck, you have to know it like the back of your hand. If you don't, you will not be able to play it. You will be lost. you'll be going into overtime consistently, and you won't win games. If you really know your deck as well as I do, then you'll know that when you pull these plays off, you'll know that it's gonna work. Like you outed me. Hang on a minute. Let's do this. You know, you have to be thinking constantly. You can't sit back and be like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and be unsure. That's not the way to play. When you build a deck, you know your win condition. You know it. I know it like the back of my hand. I know when I play a card, the combo I'm going into in order to make that play work. And that's how you have to be. You have to know your cards. You have to know exactly what they do without even reading the card. You have got to know it. If you want to win games, like I do with Dynamorphia, like I do with Altergeist, like I do with Blue Eyes, and like I do with Drytron, you have to know it like the back of your hand. You know, and that's my problem with Cyber Dragon, is I don't know them like the back of my hand. I'm good with them, yes. Am I the best? No. I am not a Cyber Dragon player. I'm a Blue Eyes player. I'm an Altergeist player. I'm a Drytron player. And I'm now a branded Despia player. I now know my combos. The reason I built branded Despia is to know how to beat it. That's why I made the deck in the first place. I didn't make it so that oh, I could win games this way. Yes, I can win games. I can win games right now. If I went into a locals right now, there is a 80% chance that I'm only going to lose one game. An 80% chance that I would lose one game. Or one match, however. So I'd go like 3-1 in locals. Or 4-1 locals, whatever. You know, I know exactly what I need to do before I even lay down a card. So, with that being said, we'll go over this later in another video. But, again, you should know your deck like the back of your hand. And without further ado, let's get into some branded Despia. Alright, so without further ado, we are going to start off by playing triple copies of Aliber, the branded Despia. Now, why Aliber? Aliber is your number one. This is the guy you're looking for 100% of the time, and he is your combo starter. So if this card is normal special summon, you can add one branded spell or trap to hand. He's also got another effect. If it faces up fusion monster you control is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, which is very easy to do. You can target one effect monster your opponent controls, special summon this card, and if you do, negate the targeted monster's effect. Until the end of the turn, you can only activate this effect once per turn. It does this, right? Oh, you can only use one Aliber effect per turn. So, remember, Aliber's I think all the Despias for the most part are like once per turn you can activate one of the effects. So keep that in mind. Again, I thought it was once per turn, but no, it's one of the effects once per turn. And Tragedy is the same way. I know Tragedy like the back of my hand. Okay, so Despia and Tragedy, we run double copies. If this card is sent to the graveyard or banished by a card effect, you can add one Despia monster from deck to your hand, except Despia and Tragedy. And it's got another effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one branded spell or trap in your graveyard and set it to your field. You only use one Despia and Tragedy effect per turn, and only once that turn. So, same bit of card text there. But they combo very well. Very well. And then you're going to run one copy of the Dramature of Despia. So this one, you're a little confused. Okay, I don't see a special summoning requirement. Well, the special summoning requirement of this card is when it is fusion summoned from the hand or field. So, this card reads, if a fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link monster is special summoned except during the damage step, you can target one effect monster on the field and negate its effects until the end of this turn. If this card is in your hand or field is used as fusion material, you can send to the graveyard or banish. You can special summon this card. So basically, if you use it from the hand or field as fusion material and send it to the graveyard or banish it, you can then special summon this card, which works very well in this branded deck. Again, it says you can only use each effect geometry once per turn, so keep that in mind. And then run double copies of Fallen Albaz. We all know Fallen Albaz very well, but I'll go ahead and explain it anyway. So Fallen Albaz, if this card is no more special summon except during the damage step, you can discard one card, fusion summon one fusion monster from the extra deck, using monsters on either field as material, including this card, but you cannot use other monsters you control as fusion material. So, yeah. And that is a once per turn effect too. Which I'm not sure how you pull that off 2 times, but sure. Next is Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. Okay, so this one is a bit confusing for some people, but we're going to go ahead and just explain it anyway. Okay, so it says this card's name becomes Fallen Albaz while in the field or in the graveyard. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can send one Fallen Albaz or one branded spell or trap from your hand or deck to the graveyard. And apply the following effect based on where it came from. If it's from the hand, you can special summon the card, or if it is from your deck, you can place this card on the bottom of the deck. And if you place this card on the bottom of the deck from your hand, you can draw one card. That one card has to be on the draw. So, very good there. I do like me some Albion the Shrouded. Next one I'm running a 2 Spriggan's Kit. Just run 2 of them. They're basically Aliber, but you want to try to special summon this card if you can. You can do it very easily just by having a fusion monster out there. But if it's normal or special summoned, you can add to your hand one of your branded spell or traps that is banished or in your deck or graveyard. Then place one card from your hand on the bottom of the deck. So yeah, very good. So you can basically search you a branded spell or trap that is in your deck or graveyard. So very good. I do like Spriggan's Kit a lot, and he's very good. Even in the build that I'm making, where it's going to have branded opening, edge imp, and all those in it, there is still 1 copy of this because it is really good. Now, how it special summons is you have to have a fusion monster that mentions Fallen Albaz as material, which is not hard to do because Mirror Jade, Albion, they all, or I said Albion twice, Lubellion, they all list him as material, which is very easy to do. So, 2 kit, can't go wrong there. You know, this is a very, very budget branded Despia deck, and it does have a lot in it. So, 1 Trap Brigade Mercurier. This card runs as a hand trap. So if you get on like a branded Lost and you fusion summon and you add this card off of Lost, this card becomes a open negate. And then once it's in the graveyard, you can actually just banish this card if you use it for like fusion material, and then its effect will go off. So it says when your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a fusion monster that mentions Fallen Albaz, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard, negate that effect. If this card is banished, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 Fallen Albaz or 1 monster that mentions it. So you can add Kit, or you can add the next card I have, which I'm going to save that until I lay it down, and that effect is once per turn. And that is the Golden Sword Soul. I really don't like this card, if I have to be honest. But he's just in there until I get, you know, my other cards, and then I'm gonna basically just take this out. This is a level 4 tuner, however. So it's not the worst. It says when a monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, negate the attack. If If you control a fusion monster that mentions fallen albaz as a material, you can destroy that monster that declared the attack. If a monster, if a monster is banished face up during the damage step, you can banish this card from your graveyard and special summon one light spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard whose attack equals its defense. You can only use the effect of Golden Sword Soul once per turn. So basically, you could, if you ran 2 of these, you could get into another Golden Sword Soul. So it's not bad. I think that's more for an Ecclesia play. I think I'm not exactly sure on that, but we'll get into that later. And then for the last monster, I'm running one Jakuzu, the Star Destroying Kaiju. Of course, this is just a Kaiju. The effect is not really going to be able to be activated unless you're facing Kaiju. So basically, this is your out to Lake Dragoon. You can just tribute it and, you know, give them this. It's not the worst, but it's not the best thing to give them either. So it's not bad. Okay, so with that being said, that is the last monster I do have in this. So now we're going to get into a lot of spells and a few traps. Of course, I do run 3 copies of Branded Fusion. If you don't run 3 copies of Branded Fusion, I do not know what you're doing. So, don't get this card twisted. Oh, I had to give me a drink. My throat was getting dry. So, Branded Fusion, you can fusion summon 1 fusion monster that mentions Fallen Albaz as material from your extra deck, using 2 monsters from hand, deck, or field as fusion material. 2, not 3, 2, not 1, 2. Obviously, if you're going to fuse, you're going to do 2. No more, no less. Okay, make sure we get that out of the way. Because there have been people have been trying to get Guardian Chimera off of this card, and that is not how that works. It does not list Fallen Albaz as material, and also you have to use 3 monsters from your hand or field for Guardian Chimera. This card does not do it. So, with that being said, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusion monsters the turn you activate this card. I'm just going to go ahead and reveal some of my extra deck here. Let me know if you don't see a fusion here. No? Look like fusions? Okay. Just making sure. So that does not apply to us. So doesn't really matter. So Branded Fusion is one of the best fusion cards ever printed. It is so good because it goes from hand, deck, or field. And that is just ridiculous. Most of the time I go from deck because you don't really need Fallen Albaz to begin with. If it's in your hand, like, it's not doing you a lot of favors anyway. So one of the best things you can do is just go straight from the deck, and I'll show you the combo to it. There is a certain combo that you do with this, and you get a basic 3 for 1, and it's ridiculous how much this deck searches. And if I can get all the other cards to it, I can then show you how the combo really pops off. Today, I'll show you a little bit of a combo, and I'll show you the real cards to play, how to play it, how you should, and I'll draw an actual hand and show you exactly what to do. This will come up, obviously. There's 2 monsters in this deck, 5 apiece, that search this card, other than everything else that I already have. So, we'll go over it, and I'll show you the combo to it. I'm sure y'all will love it. The next card we play, unfortunately, I only have 1 copy of it, but it is branded in red. So this is a quick play spell. Obviously, this is one of the best quick play spells out there. You target 1 Despia monster or Fallen Albaz in your graveyard, add it to your hand, then apply the following effect. Special summon 1 level 8 or higher from your hand or field, or from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your hand or field, but it cannot attack directly this turn. It can attack, just not directly. It can only activate 1 per turn. Branded in red is so fucking broken. It is not funny. So you can literally, the only places you can banish is from your hand or field. So as long as you have the fusion materials for it, go nuts. This card is ridiculous. The one I was talking about earlier is obviously Lost. Lost is a really good card. Now, note the way it's written. The activation of your cards and effects that include an effect that fusion summons a fusion monster cannot be negated. The activation. Even though it says effect, you can still negate the effect. But you cannot negate the activation, if that makes any sense. It says that include an effect. So, unfortunately, the way this card is written, you can still negate the effect, just not the activation. If that makes any sense. It says also your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when a monster is fusion summoned this way. Now that one becomes active when the fusion monster hits the field. It's like basically like Super Poly. You cannot respond to it or the effect. So if a fusion summon, if you fusion summon a fusion monster, you can add one Fallen Albaz or one monster that mentions it from deck to hand. So again, you can add Albion, you can add Tri-Brigade Mercurier, you could add the Tri-Brigade kit, you could add the Sword Soul. There is a shit ton of cards you can add off of that. And again, on your opponent's turn, if you branded in red, that adds you Mercurier, and you probably got Lubellion or Albion or one of those on. So with Mercurier, you'll get a free negate on a monster effect. So very, very good. This deck is ridiculous, if I have to be honest. And the last card I run, I don't ever see anybody running this card, is Branded Loss. Now you're probably thinking, why are you running Branded Loss? That doesn't make any sense. This card wasn't in any decks that topped. Doesn't make any sense. Well, this is actually a really good card that no one runs, and I'm yet to know why. When I started reading the card, I was like, this card is actually really, really good. You don't have to waste one of your fusion materials to jump into Mirror Jade when you can just send it back and then get on Mirror Jade on resolution on the end phase. So basically how that works is you target one monster your opponent controls that was special summoned from the extra deck, which could be access code or any big thing. Let's go that way. Okay. That was special summon from the extra deck, and one fusion monster you control, shuffle them into the decks. Also, during the end phase of this turn, each player can special summon one fusion monster that mentions Fallen Albaz as material from their own deck. And I'm gonna lay out one card for you. Mirror Jade. The first column, that is Fallen Albaz. That's stupid. Again, I don't know why they're not running this card. This card is so good, and you don't even use it turn one. You might if you draw it. This is like a turn 2 card. You don't get into this until turn 2. It's not a necessity, but if you have the play for it, I would definitely try to activate that. And with Branded, I always try to go second. That way I can, try to get this card and one of their extra deck monsters off the field, which is great. Branded Loss is a great card, and why it's not being ran, I don't know. The next ones that we are running is 3 copies of the Despia Theater. These might be cut in the final product of this deck. So basically, during your main phase, you can fusion summon one level 8 or higher fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. If a face-up non-fusion fairy monster you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, or it is destroyed by battle, you can target one level 8 or higher fusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it for free. So basically, if you lose one, you can special summon it. Or they find a way to get rid of Mirror Jade. You can then activate the effect of Mirror Jade to destroy all the monsters during the end phase and then get back Mirror Jade. That's stupid. Like, it's dumb. That's what I said. It might be cut, but it might stay. Because it's good. Next is simple. We're just running 3 Dark Ruler no more. These are in place of Forbidden Droplet. Obviously, these are more budget friendly than Forbidden Droplet is. Forbidden Droplet is a good card, and it works really well with this deck. But with Dark Ruler, it basically does the same thing. And as long as they don't have any trap or spell negations for this, which I don't know very many spell negations that stop spells. Basically, what you do is you negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end phase. For this turn, your opponent will take no damage, and neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card's activation. So, that being said, kind of broken. That's another one where you really can't respond to the activation of it. So, it's very neat. It's great for breaking boards. Next, obviously, you know me by now. This is a great deck for Super Poly, and we run triple copies of it. Basically, discard 1 card. If you summon 1 fusion monster from the extra deck, use the monsters from either field as material. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. So, another card that is just absolutely broken. And we run 6 copies of broken cards. Fantastic. 2 copies of polymerization, obviously. These will be in here for the Edge Imp package. Yes, I do have a Speed Duel one. Unfortunately, I lost one of my polymerization, so I'm just using the Speed Duel one for now. But I'll eventually get better copies of polymerization. So, yeah, polymerization is in there because you never know when you're getting into a play to where you could use polymerization. I'm going to do these back to back. Cosmic Cyclone and 1 copy of Twin Twisters. Basically, pay 1,000, get rid of Mystic Mime, discard a card, pop Mystic Mime and another card. Very simple. Just gets rid of spell cards like that. Another one we use is Golden Sarcophagus. You can banish Tragedy, add a Despia to your hand automatically. Pretty easy. So even if you don't have a play, you can make one with this deck. It's not that difficult. 1 Call by the Grave, obviously very important. Gets rid of like Ash and everything like that on your turn. Easy peasy. I wish that was a 3. I really do. And then for traps, round 3 Infinite Impermanence. These are in place of Ash. Obviously, they're not better than Ash, but in the format, Infinite Impermanence is very, very good. So, and with these being said, always gives your opponent something to think about. So, Infinite Impermanence is very good. You can use it basically whenever you decide that you need to use it. I use it a lot on Mirror Jade, not gonna lie. And then for the last card I run the deck, again, these cards were not in the profile for any of the big tournament duels. And I am running this in 2 copies. This will be cut to 1. But this is one of the most broken cards in Branded, and it's not being ran. And I'm kind of upset that it's not. Is Branded Sword. I'm running double copies of Branded Sword. So, Branded Sword came in the structure deck. And it is actually a very, very broken card. Especially if they try to get rid of Mirror Jade and they lose their entire field. And you have 5 spells or 5 branded traps in your graveyard. You can then banish all 5 of them for this effect. Here you go. Banish any number of branded spell or traps from your graveyard. Special summon that many Ice Blade tokens. It's Dragon Dark, level 8, attack 2500 and defense 2000. can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your banished monsters that is Fallen Albaz or mentions it, add that monster to your hand. You can only use one branded sword effect per turn, and only once that turn. This card is fucking broken. Because literally, if, again, they get rid of Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade pops the entire field. You then pop this trap, load your board with 5 tokens, and you just swing for game. It's ridiculous. No one's using this card. I don't know why. But that's branded sword for you. Again, some of these cards, I don't know why they're not being used. They're so good. Branded is a really good archetype. I don't understand. So, first of all, we're going to run a card that will be cut, definitely. These are just in here just for targets for Mirror Jade, basically. So, if you happen to use this guy, he's probably one of the hardest fusions to get into. Harder than freaking Mirror Jade. Basically, it's Fallen Albaz, an effect monster that special summon this turn. During your main phase, you can move this card in your control to another main monster zone. Then you can destroy all the face-up cards in this card's column during the end phase. This card is in your graveyard because it was sent there. This turn, you can add to your hand or special summon one Spriggan monster or one Fallen Albaz. So, you only activate once per turn, only once that way. So, very good. Like I said, it's okay. For of course, run Super Poly, run Starving Venom. It's 2 dark monsters, pretty easy. It gains attack equal to one of the special summon monsters on your opponent's field until the end of the turn. And also, it's got another effect where you can target a level 5 or higher monster, and its effect becomes this card's effect. And then it has a third effect to where if this card is destroyed, you can destroy all of your opponent's special summon monsters. So, very good. Starving Venom is a pretty good card. So next up, I got 2 copies of Bargran, the Glory Dragon. It is a Fallen Albaz and a level 8 or higher monster. Cannot be destroyed by battle. While you control this fusion summon card, your opponent cannot target other monsters you control with monster effects. During the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there, you can add to your hand one Tri-Brigade monster or one Fallen Albaz from your deck. So basically, if you send this, you can just add the Tri-Brigade kit for free. So, yeah. Very easy to do there. It's not the best one to send, but if you send it, good things are going to happen. Promise you. Okay, and we're running 2 of this guy. This is Titanic Lad, the Ash Dragon. It's a Fallen Albaz and 1 monster with 2,500 or more attack. Now, pay attention because this card can actually get powerful. Gains attack equal to the combined original levels of the monster used for its fusion summon. So, in this deck, the highest attack it's going to have is 3,700. Unless if you're using material from the field. Going straight from deck, it's going to be 3,700. After this card is fusion summoned for the rest of this turn, it is unaffected by the activated effects of any other monster special summon from the extra deck during the end phase. If this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add to your hand or special summon 1 dogmatic monster or 1 Fallen Albaz. You can only use once per turn and once that way. So there's Titanic Lad. Obviously, you know it. Double copies of Albion. Now we're getting into the actual goblins. So Albion is Fallen Albaz plus a light monster. It doesn't make sense because it's dark, but we'll get into that later. If this card is fusion summoned, you can fusion summon 1 level 8 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck, except Albion, the Branded Dragon, by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your field or hand, field, or graveyard during the end phase. If this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add or set one branded spell or trap directly from the deck. You can only use each effect once per turn. So keep that one in mind. That one is kind of broken. That's the one I send most of the time. Then you're going to run double copies of Lubellion, the Searing Dragon. So what Lubellion here does is it is a light with a dark monster and a fallen Albaz. Again, I told you, these cards, I think they got them mixed up. They make no sense. Anyway. So with Lubellion here, it's a dark monster and a fallen Albaz. If this card is fusion summoned, you can discard one card, fusion summon one level 8 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck, except Lubellion, the Searing Dragon. By shuffling fusion materials listed on it, mentioned on it, into the deck from your monsters on the field, graveyard, or face up, banished. And for the rest of this turn, the card cannot attack. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck, except fusion monsters. You can use each effect once per turn. So again, it's all fusion lock. It really doesn't matter because you're not going into anything else. This is the one deck where you literally don't go into anything else. For now, we're running one Despia Proskinian. So Proskinian here is a Fiend Fusion effect, blah blah blah. Doesn't really matter. You cannot get into this card with either Lubellion or Albion because it's a higher than level 8. So I think it's a level 10, I think. So basically, it's one Despia monster plus a light and a dark monster. During the main phase, quick effect, you can target one fusion synchro exist or link monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it or special summon it to your field. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack or defense, whichever is higher. You can only use each effect once per turn. So Proskinian is a good game eater, but I go into him a little bit, not a whole lot. The one I go into a lot is Masquerade the Blazing Dragon. He is a level 8. How nice. So it is a Despia monster plus a light or dark. While you control this fusion summon card, your opponent must pay 600 light points to activate cards or effects, which is why we're getting a second copy, so I can mill them for 1200 instead. If your opponent controls a ritual, fusion, synchro, exist, or link monster while this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only activate this effect of Masquerade the Blazing Dragon once per turn. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clarify. So all of you know, if you don't already, this card's effect to special summon back to the field. Once it special summons back, it is no longer a fusion summon card. So it will not have the effect that burns your opponent for 600 and makes them pay life points. It will not have that effect. So keep that in mind when you bring it back. And then the last two I have are obviously 2 copies of Mirror Jade. So Mirror Jade is very important in this deck. It's a real pain in the ass, and it is for good measure. And I'm about to explain why. So it's a Fallen Albaz plus a Fusion, Synchro, exist, or Link monster, which is very easy to do off of Super Paladin. You can only let's see. I will have to read one of them because I can't read it on the screen. It says you can only control one Mirror Jade, the Ice Blade Dragon. Once per turn, quick effect, you can send one fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard that mentions Fallen Albaz as material. Banish one monster on the field. Also, this card cannot use that effect next turn. If this fusion summon card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, because of an opponent's card, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls. So, kind of broken. So yeah, that is the branded Despia deck. And of course, Since we're running sword, I guess I'll show you my little tokens that I use. Run those and these. Nice to see, nice to have. The last 15 minutes of this video, I will be going over the deck combo and how the deck runs on a legit scale. I will not be janking anything, so I'm gonna shuffle these up real quick and then give you a demonstration. So be right back. All right. So what's gonna happen here is I'm gonna get the deck a quick cut, so you can see. No jank. Nothing jank. And we're always going to go second, so I'm going to lay out 5 cards, and then I'll draw one. So for my hand, how I'm going to start off is going to be Branded Sword, Twin Twisters, Super Polymerization, Fallen Albaz, and Aliber. And then we're going to draw, and Call by the Grave. This right here is full combo. Very easy to pull off. So now that you've seen the cards, I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and play now. So you'll see how this works. So first thing you do is you're going to have to activate Alber. Alber's going to grab Branded Fusion, and I'm going to show you how to really get this off. So again, I told you this is a 3-for-1. So when you get Branded Fusion, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a shuffle. What's going to happen here is you're just going to go ahead and you're going to activate Branded Fusion. And you're going to use 2 from the deck. So we are going to use, remember this is our last Fallen Albaz in the deck, and you are going to use Despia and Tragedy. Okay. So now that we've made it this far, we're gonna jump right into Libellion. Libellion's effect will activate, and then it will activate Tragedy. When it's sent to the graveyard, you can add one Despia monster straight to hand. So we are going to add Dramature. We're gonna add that to hand. Okay, then you're going to activate the effect of Albion to discard 1 card. I'm going to go ahead and discard the last Fallen Albaz. To shuffle it and Tragedy back into the deck. To get into Masquerade. So again, let me stick these over here so you can actually see the monsters. I didn't know that the light was reflecting that hard over there. Masquerade, can you go up here? Thank you. You're too shiny to go in that light. So we've got Masquerade, we've got Libellion, and we've got Aliberon. So we're not doing too bad. Plus, in our hand, we now have Dramature, Super Poly, Twin Twister, Branded Sword, and Call by the Grave. Basically, we are sitting pretty comfortably, not as comfortable as I'd like to be. And I think that right there is all that we have. Yeah. So we can set Super Poly, we could set Twin Twister, and we could set the Sword. And Called by the Grave, actually. Then in turn, basically, all that we could do is basically nothing. So in turn, go and draw. Then draw into anything good. But what I could do is, let's say I go ahead and give them the Kaiju, and I'll activate Super Poly by getting the Dramature, using my Kaiju in the Jester. So I don't even know if I can get into anything off of that. No. I don't think so. Oh yeah, okay, but I gotta use Lubellion. And then get into Proscenium. There we go. That's something legit. I don't think they have any effects in their Centigrave. They do not. So we got nothing going on there. Super Poly has been used. Very, very good. I think we only have one branded spell in this graveyard right now. And we do. So sword would be a waste. In turn, draw. Sweet. Activate branded theater. We're confusing someone, but I don't see the point. So, in turn, draw again. Draw into another theater. That's fantastic. Okay, now I'm in something that is worth playing. So we're gonna go ahead and just play it. Branded loss. I'm gonna target Proscenium. Send it back. Actually, no. Target Masquerade. Send it back. I'm sorry. Like I said, this is a very, very low played version of it. So you're basically just going to send it back, go to end phase, and the throwing cards. Mirror Jade's going to come out for us. So, very good there. It's alright. End phase. And then activate Twin Twisters, targeting 2. Discard 1. So now we got more fodder in our graveyard. Go ahead and draw for turn. Set 1 and go ahead and activate Branded Sword. Now here's where this comes into play. Is I go from having 2 monsters with high attack, with sword. You're going to banish the theater. You're going to banish... Actually, it's branded, ain't it? Yeah, not Despia. You can notice that's the branded theater. So basically, you just banish 2 here, and we can make 2 tokens. And these both have 2,500 attack and 2,000 defense. So, and with that, you can go ahead and activate Mirror Jade's effect to banish 1 monster. And in phase, Albion will add a spell. We're basically just gonna add Brain Diffusion. That's smart. We're in this predicament. Go ahead and draw. And I'll basically just go ahead and use Brain Diffusion for, let's see, send Tragedy and send Albaz. It doesn't really matter at this point. That's basically it. I'm not going to be able to do much off of that. Get into another Lubellion. Lubellion effect, Tragedy effect. Add Albor. Effect. Discard. And then I can take 2 and shuffle them back in. I can shuffle. I gotta go Albaz. Actually, no, I don't. I can go Tragedy and Mercurier. You want to do that? Do I have a light in this graveyard? Oh, I do. Yes, I do. Instead of Mercurier, do a little Kaiju here. Get these both, go back in. Not Tragedy. Jesus Christ, I'm messing this up big time. Yes, I just want everyone knowing your cards. I know my cards, I'm just being an idiot. So shuffle these 2 back in. Whoop. And then we can get into Albion. And then Albion's effect. I can banish monsters from field or graveyard. I think it's hand field or graveyard, ain't it? Hand field or graveyard, yeah. Whoop. So go ahead and add you, and then its effect is basically for free. And you're going to banish. Let's see. Let's banish a token. And tragedy. Tragedy's effect won't activate because you can only activate once per turn. So when you banish your token, you get Masquerade. And you look at this board, and that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot you have to do. And I mean, with that, you do have a lot of monsters with a lot of effects. So you're great. So that's it for this one, and I'm gonna do one more just to show you probably a better hand. I'll be right back. Okay, for the last one, so what we get here. Again, we always go second. Always go second. You can go first. I just don't find a lot of luck with me doing that. So I always go second. Okay, so actually, that's a lot better. So, this is what we're dealing with. You got Polymerization, Oliver, Branded Lost, Dark Ruler No More, and Fallen Albas, and on the draw, another Dark Ruler. So that's actually a really good hand. So let's go ahead and get cracking. So I'm just going to go ahead and activate Lost. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Go ahead and go Oliver. This is actually going to combo like a motherfucker, so just a heads up for you. And you're going to grab Branded Fusion, obviously. Always grab Branded Fusion. Always. Remember, the activation of the spell cannot be negated, but the effect can. So, keep that in mind. So, add that. Then we are going to use said Branded Fusion using one of the Fallen Albas I have in my hand. And Tragedy. And lay that face up. And not like it's any importance. And by doing that, we are going to get into Rebellion. Now, effect. Effect of Tragedy will add Dramature. Effect of Lost will add, I can add a kit. And effect of Rebellion to discard. Let me shuffle this real quick. And then it will fusion summon by shuffling materials back into the deck, which is going to be Tragedy and Fallen Albas. So I'm just going to go ahead and discard one Dark Ruler and just get these two back in so I can get into Masquerade. Very easy. It's a gimme combo. It's not that hard to pull off. And then you'll get into more. Trust me. Just wait a minute. And with that, you can get into Masquerade now. So we're now into Blazing Dragon. Alright. Effect successfully resolved. And then off of this, you can activate Kit. Special Summon Kit. I'm actually going to put it in Tech mode. Then the reason you can special summon is because Rebellion is on. And then you can activate the effect to add a branded spell or trap. And we are going to add... I got a few I could actually do. So the main two that you're going to want to grab most of the time when you get this combo is you're either going to grab Loss or you're going to grab in red. So one of these two is the ones you want. For me in this situation, I think I'm going to grab Loss because I've got a play that I can pull off with Kit and Aliber. So I'm not going to do that yet. Okay. Alright, now Lost in my hand. So basically, now if this wouldn't have been a testing duel, obviously I would have Dark Rulered first. Let's go ahead and activate it. Just so I can make sure I get my plays through. I do have to check and see what I have. Like Perskinian. and the rest of its fallen alba is related except for starving venom. So basically, I'm just going to use polymerization on kit and dramature. Easy peasy lemon squeezy to get into starving venom. Okay. Affect the dramature. Special summons. Very, very neat. And then I'm going to activate the effect of Branded Loss on Lubellion, returning him back to the extra deck. And one special summon monster my opponent controls. Goes to grave. And then go to end phase. There's Mirror Jade. Take that, and that's resolved. And whatever they throw down, just activate Mirror Jade and send all beyond for the test. Basically go to end turn, activate effect of all beyond to add. Which one was I wanting? Wasn't in red. I'll just go ahead and add Branded Fusion. That's smart. So I have Branded Fusion on resolve, and we'll go ahead and draw. Of course, I pull the card that I need. Use them. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get into. Damn it, I don't want to do it like that. But I really don't need that one though. God damn it. Well, crap. Go that route, but I don't like to do it that way. Because what's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up losing what I need here. Could have went in red. Now, I think it's most important to go for that. To get into Lubellion. Because Lubellion's actually going to be able to shuffle back in cards. So. But Lubellion's effect will not be able to activate on that though. But Branded Loss will, it'll kick in. And for us, it will add this dumbass all beyond to hand. So the Lubellion's effect will not be able to activate because there are no cards able to discard at the time of the activation. So it cannot resolve. So basically what happens here is you've got all beyond. You can use the effect of all beyond hand to send fallen albaz or a spell or trap to the graveyard. In this case, I'm just going to send Despia Theater just so I've got some extra fodder. And basically just pray and hope I draw into something worth a crap. Don't get me wrong, I'm in a great situation here. That's not bad. Not what I need to. That's not bad. Set Super Poly. Sure, it actually goes back on the bottom of the deck, so there you go. Is there any cards to banish? No. So I'm going to explain something here I did wrong. Kit. When I add the spell or trap off Kit, you're actually supposed to place one card from your hand on the bottom of the deck. So that part I did wrong, unfortunately. I'm just now figuring this out. God damn it. Didn't add any Despias, did I? No? Well, great. Are you fucking serious? Yes, I can. So I can now use Despia Tragedy. Because I didn't use it to add anything. What I can do I gotta reset loss. Yeah, let's just reset, not fusion, loss. Reset loss. I gotta activate loss. Targeting Rebellion again. I just used to get in the bigger things, basically. As long as it mentions Fawn Albaz, I'll be able to special summon it. In phase, we're going to special summon. We cannot special summon Mirror Jade, so we will be going. Let's get in. Do we want that one? Yeah, let's go Albion. Albion effect. No, I can't. I just special summon. It's not a fusion summon, so no, I can't. And that's basically it. But what I was trying to show you is how. Okay, it's gonna take me 9 cards to draw it anyway. But okay, so what happens here in this situation? Let me count them out. 1, 2, 3. That don't count. 2 is not 1. 4. Let's say loss gets destroyed. 5. Let's see, it's 4. Dumbass. Okay. So basically, let's say I have those 4 in there, and I have another branded spell trap. Please, thank you. Slow it in. So basically, what happens here is if you pop my entire field, you hit me with Lightning Storm. This field can't prevent it, but Mirror Jade's going to activate, and it's going to you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls during the end phase of this turn. So you pop them all. Great, fan-damn-tastic. With this field, there are going to be some effects that go off, but when you go in phase, I'll activate Sword, which then again will make, let's see, because I have to do this correctly, it will banish 1 branded, 2 branded, 3 branded, 4 branded, and 5 branded spells. And that will go 1 token, 2 token, 3 token, 4 token, 5 token. All your monsters are destroyed. And now I have the effect of Albion going off, adding me a branded spell. What else do I got going off here? That's about it. So it'll add a branded spell, which is probably going to be branded fusion if I have to be honest. I don't know. It's going to be branded in red. So you're adding red off that. And you're set to go. Because I got super polymerization and branded in red. So, like, if you do that, these all have 2,500. Once Mirror Jade pops off and it pops them all, you can just swing for game. And it's like, I think it's like 10,000 or some odd measurement there. Hang on, let me calculate it for you. I'll tell you exactly how much it is for you in the video. It's 2,500 times 5. That's 1,250. So it's 12,500. That's a lot of damage to take to the face. Especially with Brandon and Red waiting. And Super Pollen. So it's, you know, this is a very easy combo to do. And the deck runs very, very well. Even with it being undone, you can see the definite power that it does have. But I'm trying to cut out the problems that it has right now, where it doesn't have opening, and it doesn't have Frightful Patchwork, the Edge Amp package, you know, all that crammed in this deck. You know, if I have it all, it's great. If I have the other Masquerade, I've got another target. If I have the Guardian Chimera, I've got another target. And if I have the actual Despia Aquarius, it has a bigger target. You know, it has more targets to really get into. And that's what I'm trying to create this deck to do, is to be able to be the best that it possibly can be. And right now, I'm very close. I've got all the branded monsters, except for the freaking fusion one. He's like 13 bucks. I just need to go ahead and get him this weekend. I'm going to get him, obviously. I worked very, very hard to make this deck. be as good as it is now. I don't know if I want to play it this weekend or not. I might, if I get a chance, I might play this version of Brandon Despia. I'll let you guys know how it goes. But I do know I would win 80% of the games with the way the deck is built right now. Simply because of how powerful Brandon Despia is. So, with that being said, that is the end of this video, and I hope you guys enjoy. I'm Pierce Nation, and I'll see you in the next video. Pierce Nation out.